about 8% of all people, mostly men, are colorblind. And if you have a link only distinguishable by a different color, people may miss that. And they miss maybe about important links to important content.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another Kinsta Talks episode. My name is Marcel Bootsman and I am the Partnerships and Community Manager at Kinsta in the EMEA region. And today we're going to talk about accessibility again with Rian Rietveld. Hi Rian.
Hi Marcel.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good actually.
Excellent.
Busy.
Nice to hear. So you've been working on the WordPress accessibility knowledge base on wpaccessibility.org. Yes, people, go and check that URL out. On documenting basically all accessibility things needed to have a good website, have good content accessible to, well, basically everyone and not just people that are 100% able to read and see all the colors and etc. You've been working on that for, I think a little more over than a year now?
We officially started in at WordCamp Europe last year. The real
Almost
work,
a year.
the research
Yeah.
was done almost over a year ago, and we started actually building after WordCamp Europe. So that's almost a year now.
So what can you tell the audience about some of the fun updates you've been working on with your team on wpaccessibility.org?
Well, the website is finished now, and we are putting the content from the handbook, the accessibility handbook on makewordpress.org in the website, and we are now reading through all that content, enhancing it, updating it, adding new content to it. So on the homepage of the website, there's an overview of the last updates and the recent updates of the content. And we updated in April content about images and alt texts and how to do that in the content, how to add an alt text and why it's important, for example, for content, but also in web development, how to implement SVGs in an accessible way. We added content about headings, heading structure, also separate for the content and for development, because these are two different approaches. So if you are a content manager, how to check your heading structure and why heading structure is important. And also in development for a theme, how to approach a heading structure. And at the moment, I'm working on information about links, the design of links, how to add links in the content, how to add a link on an image, for example, and why it's important to underline links in the content. And together with Joe Dawson, we are thinking about a section, can I use? Can I use this block? For example, if you have questions, can I use, for example, the table block? Is that accessible? Well, there are ways to do that, but you have to really do that carefully because the table block has accessibility issues. So we want, and other blocks like the accordion are fully accessible. So we want to have like a can I use section, can I use this core block? And maybe in the future enhance that or extend that with can I use this theme or this plugin? But we have to find a way to make that easy maintainable because it's a lot of information and core blocks change. There are new core blocks added and well, themes or plugins in the thousands. We have to find a way to make that easy for people to check. Can I use this block, for example?
I'm immediately thinking about it is a puzzle, and it's great that you are checking out if you can work on this and how. And I'm immediately thinking about, getting that information in a plugin. So whenever you add a block in WordPress in your content, you have some kind of check mark or whatever, this is accessible or not, or, you should be careful. So very interesting to hear how that is going to evolve without it taking a lot of time, of course, to start this as a project, because it can be And
and where to put the information, like should it be on the knowledge base, or should it be with the blog information itself, like accessibility concerns, with links for core, like GitHub issues that are opened for accessibility issues. Like we need to try to find if we can automate something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But at the moment I'm writing about links.
Yes.
So why
links in
should be underlined? Yeah,
links in content should be specially highlighted. Underlining those links is a thing that is very important. Can you explain to our viewers why it is so important that we underline our links in the content?
Well, about 8% of all people, mostly men, are colorblind. And if you have a link only distinguishable by a different color, people may miss that. And they miss maybe about important links to important content. And underlining a link in the content. So it's not in the menu, not in the footer, not in a place where you obviously know it's a link, but in the content, in paragraphs. If you underline it, that's kind of convention. Everybody knows text that's underlined is a link, because that's default browser behavior. You really have to take effort to make it less accessible by removing the underlining. So only giving information by color, by a different color, is not enough, because colorblind people may miss that. And maybe not everybody understands that if it's a different color, that it's a link. So underlining is like everybody knows that. So don't make your users think. Underlining link in the content is the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, it is. That's a good explanation. Especially what you said, it's default behavior. If you add a link in HTML, it will be shown underlined wherever you use it. And then you have to actually do work to make it less accessible. That is something that is very important for people to know. And especially, 8% of the people you said that use websites, have some kind of color blindness. If we can help those people, with the 40+% we power on the internet as WordPress, that's a lot of people that can visit websites that might miss links or might miss information or whatever. So yes, definitely agree with you on that. Underline those links in the content. Absolutely. You've been working on the website and expanding it and adding more information. Have you seen any proof of people actually using your website?
Well, I didn't know at first, and I thought, well, the website isn't officially done, so it's not indexed by the search engines. But I heard people talking about it, and I thought, well, how many people are visiting the website? And now from yesterday on, we have statistics on the website. It doesn't use cookies. It's very simple. The data is in Europe. It's called, let me see, Umami. That's very simple and a free tool. Just add a line of JavaScript and it gives you stats. And I noticed a lot of people are visiting the website and really in-depth searching for content on the website. And there is a refer section and people talking about it on Twitter. And that was really encouraging for me, because we are not really promoting it at the moment yet, but it's it's well visited, and that gives me a really motivation. Like, okay, this is really useful what we're doing. So that was helpful, and for me, it gives me a good feeling. Like, okay,
A little
people
bit
are
of
really
a
talking
motivational
about it and
boost.
watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's good to hear. You said also that the website is not indexed by search engines right now. Was that done deliberately? Probably that was done deliberately, but why did you choose to do that?
Well, the plan is to migrate the content when it's finished to developer.wordpress.org. And there is if that's on developers.wordpress.org, well, we keep the wp-accessibility.org for maintenance and expansion and just keeping the information up to date, and then migrate it with an API to developer.wordpress.org. But there's no way we can compete with content that's on WordPress.org. So that will be the main entry point for people if we do the migration.
Yes. Okay,
But
that's clear. I
now
understand
I
that.
see how much it is used. Maybe we need to reconsider that, because well, it will take a long time before the content is done, and maybe people already need that content what is not finished, but it's, well, there is a lot of information there already. But I
Yeah,
don't know.
when the website is not 100% finished, I'm actually very curious to know if it could ever be 100% finished, because there's constantly new regulations, new developments, new blocks, changes, basically.
Yeah.
But if you have some kind of section that is ready, you just told us about the links in the content, or you talk about the header structure. If those sections are ready, I would say, open it up and let people find it through search engines. And whenever things are pushed to developer.wordpress.org, you can, I don't know, put a 301 code on it. If people click on your link to the wpaccessibility.org website, you can forward them to the right developer.wordpress.org website. I'm thinking out loud
Okay.
here. That's how my brain works.
Writing it down right now.
That's good. That's good. It's good.
Do you want to be on the contributors list? We have a list of all people who contributed to it, so I can add Marcel Bootsman.
If this suggestion can be categorized as a contribution, sure.
Well, why not?
That would be great. That would be really
Some
great.
small ideas are having a big impact.
That's true. Definitely true. Yes. So, all right, we talked about your statistics. We've talked about the new and updated content on the website. What are your plans for, because are you going to WordCamp Europe in Poland?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Is there anything going to happen on your project, for instance, on Contributor Day?
Well, I really want to talk to the meta team there about integrating the content,
Yes.
about how to refer to the content, because there's now duplicate content, for example, about the accessibility ready tag. All the content, the recent content, is now on our knowledge base, but it's actually, the old content is still on the theme information. So I want to reach out to other teams and talk to them how to solve things, and get their opinion about what will be the best way to publish or to link content. So that's what I'm going to do, and I really hope that people will give me feedback about the knowledge base, about what they think
Absolutely.
about it, what they miss, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it will be like the contributor day. It will be a day of a lot of talking with people about the
Good.
meta team and yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. And I think, if you want to make progress, you have to have the teams aligned, and you have to know how to push your content to developer.wordpress.org. So, yeah, very interesting to hear how that is going. In the meantime, is there any particular project or part of your website you are working on?
Well, actually, that's why the stats are useful. Well, I want to finish the section about content, and I'm almost ready with the content about how to write accessible content and what's important for that. And then I looked at the stats, and many people are watching for how to test and about checklists. And I think maybe I'll look at the stats and see what are people actually looking for, and then start writing about that and extending and updating the information. I think I will do testing for accessibility, because I think that that's one of the most requested content, how to
Okay.
test for it. And I
Yeah.
think that will be my next content writing project.
Nice. Yes, your new
besides the politics.
sub-project.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides politics, do you want to discuss politics?
No.
Let's not do that now. Let's focus on the work, not on the politics.
Let's keep this a happy talk. Yeah.
Yes. I'm just thinking, if people are watching this video and think, hey, I might have something to contribute to this wpaccessibility.org website and the information that's there, is there any way they can reach out to you or help?
Yes, please. Because it's a lot of work to write everything, and I'm not an expert in everything. So like 2 people from the Netherlands, Annemieke Bovelet, for example, she is an expert in like the business case for accessibility, and she's going to write a few pages. That's really her expertise, how to sell accessibility to your client or to your boss. Annelies Verhulst, she is an expert on legislation. She's also a Dutch accessibility expert, and she is writing information about WCAG, introduction to WCAG, and also about legislation. So that are the expertise of those people, and are really helpful. So reach out to me on Slack. There is a contact page on the website. You can contact us in various ways. Please, if you have an expertise on something, or you disagree with content, or you think this content needs more information, you don't need to know GitHub or stuff. You can just open a Google Doc or whatever you use and write content in there, and we can add it to the website. But if you really know something really well or have extra information, please share it with us. That will save a lot of time.
That's great to hear. It's good to hear. Yeah, there's a contact page on wpaccessibility.org where people can read how to contact you and in what ways you can be contacted for, for changes
I'm
or for
Rian Rietveld
contributing.
on everywhere, like Slack,
Yes. Yes.
social media. Yeah.
Excellent. So people can find you there and find it on the website. That's good to hear. Thanks, Rian, for today's update on wpaccessibility.org. I think I plugged the URL now for this 6th or 7th time, so people should definitely take a look. Thanks for your great work, and also to the team and the contributors to the project. I might be one of them. I just learned. And I want to wish you a very happy day, and hopefully see you in good health in Poland for WordCamp Europe in a few weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.